Awesome. I'm so excited for a couple of guests that we have with us today. And I'm going to give them, they asked for really proper, incredible introductions. And so I just really wanted to, talk them up a lot. I'm just kidding. They didn't ask for that, but they're going to get it. But Carson is here. Carson Wentz is one of the most accomplished athletes in North Dakota history. He's the highest draft pick ever in the FCS history. He's committed to his family and to his faith. He's a man of character. He's married to Maddie, has 4 girls. We're believing for 4 more on the way. And Hadley, Hudson, Hayes, and Hunter. He founded the E121 Foundation with his wife, Maddie, to serve underprivileged youth, individuals with disabilities, and humanitarian initiatives. He's just doing a lot for a lot of people. He's an NDSU Bison. He's a Minnesota Viking. And he's just a good, stinking guy. So you welcome Carson Wentz as he comes today. All right. Okay, sit down because you got to do it again. Also here wearing his arena merch is C.J. Ham. And C.J. is a native of Duluth, Minnesota. He played college football at Augustana, 2 Dakota college athletes, Dakotas. He went undrafted in 2016, but was picked up by the Vikings, walked on, became an elite fullback. He received the rare honor of going to the Pro Bowl as a fullback more than once. Was it twice? 2 times. And he is known for his elite blocking and ability to make clutch plays, but he's even known more for his elite character, his humility, his servant-heartedness, the person that he is off the field. It goes before him. And he and his wife Stephanie founded the Ham Family Scholarship Fund to serve underprivileged youth, and multiple outlets, including Pamper Her Purple, to support cancer patients and their families. His kids are Skylar, Stella, and Trip. And would you give a warm North Dakota welcome to C.J. Ham? Every year when the season is almost over, I text Carson and talk about the arena. And I'm like, hey, is there anybody that you want to bring? And he goes, what would you think about C.J. Ham? And I was like, that would work. That would be awesome.
Huge mistake.
Yeah. But so thankful you guys are here. And I mean, sure, it's cool that you're pro athletes, but it's been really cool to see both of what you guys are really all about off the field. I watch you on social media. We have somewhat of a relationship, and just getting to see who you are in real life. And the little bit I've seen today, it's just such an example. I know there's a ton of kids in the room, and they're watching you guys. And thank you. And even what Pastor Kevin was talking about, all the things that the world has probably put in front of you, that you've chosen to honor the Lord, honor your wife, honor your family, honor your church in the way that you've lived. So I just want to commend you for that. Can you appreciate them for being men of character? And what I really want to do is every year, I want you to introduce each other. I want CJ, you to talk about Carson. Carson, you talk about CJ and why you respect each other and the character that you have.
Yeah, I can go first, and I think, but Josh mentioned it. The last couple of years, he reaches out and asks, who would you want to come? Is there anybody you'd suggest? And I immediately was like CJ. And it's every year. My career, I've bounced around time after time. Not like this guy who's 10 years in one spot. But every year I make a connection with somebody on each team that you could just tell immediately that they truly, genuinely walk faithfully with the Lord. And I can say there's not a ton of those guys on every team. There's a lot of really good guys, but immediately from, we've crossed paths over the years, coming in at the same time, but really never really got to know him deeply until this year. And even this year, we were both injured so much, we didn't even get in the huddle together a whole lot. but just seeing how he carried out his faith in the locker room, in meeting rooms, and just the respect when he would speak to younger guys, to other guys on the team. I mean, everybody just looked at him with the utmost respect, and it was clear as day. Then we go to team Bible studies, and just the wisdom that he would offer to the group. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to everybody else. And so he's a man that just leads and walks faithfully with the Lord. I've seen it time after time throughout this year, throughout his career. Walter Payton, Man of the Year twice for the team, I believe. So just, I mean, he's in... So I'm glad he's still in Minnesota. I wish he was still in the locker room with me, not gonna lie. But an awesome man of God and an awesome teammate. So it's been fun getting to know him.
You should have let me go first. I appreciate you, brother. I mean, we all know this is the Bismarck, North Dakota man right here. Give it up for Carson Wentz one more time. For sure. You know, there probably isn't anything I can tell you about his athletic career that you don't already know. But, you know, us coming into the NFL just at the same time, 2016, you know, both being from smaller schools, even though NDSU is like the Alabama of the Midwest. So I wouldn't say his school was as small as mine, but, you know, in him being a quarterback, obviously he's in the limelight. He's up front, and I was able to see him, see his career, and see what he stood for, you know, firsthand, and, you know, from afar, really. And to see this man and who he is and how he leads his family, you know, the AO1 Foundation, you know, that blew up everywhere. Everyone around is saying audience of one. And like, you all, sometimes I feel like you're able to look and say, like, man, is that man truly who he claims to be? And the couple times we've crossed paths together, I knew about him. I don't think he knew about me, but I knew about him. And we got to be teammates last year, and he is the real deal. He is the real deal in who he is and how he leads and loves. And, you know, from the moment he stepped into our Bible study, it was like that was a man who was after God's heart. That was a man who knew the word, and that was a man who was trying to live it out to the best of his ability. And just so many guys respected that man. And I appreciate you inviting me here. I didn't deserve anything you said about me. I appreciate you. I'm on your home turf right now, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Give us a peek into your walk with the Lord. Like, what is God doing in your life right now? What's he speaking to you about?
Yeah, great question. I'm obviously in a new season of life right now. Some place that I've never been. Feels kind of good, to be honest with you. But you know, I get asked the question a lot of what's next. What are you going to do next? What are you going to get into? And like right now, man, I feel the Lord is really just calling me to be present. To be present where I'm at. You know, for the last 10 years, I've tried to be the best husband and father and follower of Jesus and friend and brother that I could be, but subconsciously football still had a little part of me. So I feel like I wasn't able to fully give that. And now that I'm able to fully give that, I mean, it's not so much pressure to find out what's next. It's, hey, what's already in front of you? You know, maximize what's already in front of you and being a husband and a father, and really just diving into my walk with the Lord with no distractions, getting uncomfortable, you know, being in men's Bible studies for the first time, you know, doing more events like this, discipleship, mentorship, really just being present. And I was given the advice to, you know, take 1 month for every year that you played in the NFL to just, you know, not have any, you know, obligations. And, you know, so 10 months to a year, might as well make it a year, as I'm just gonna hone in and just focus on what's in front of me and just be the best version of myself.
Yeah, mine's every year seems like God's teaching me pretty much the same thing, just in a different way. You know, as I get older in this league, now I'm officially, guys like C.J, a lot of guys on this team are gone, veteran guys. And so I look around the locker room and I'm one of the oldest guys now. And so I'm just getting a different lens and different viewpoint from a mentorship standpoint. You know, I still want to be the same competitor on the field. I still want to give it everything I got and be the guy out there. But at the same time, I see a lot of hurt. I see a lot of guys coming in just lost spiritually, and a lot of really good guys, quite frankly, I feel like kids coming in to the league, but they need somebody to point them to the right thing. And so I just feel that kind of even building more and more over the years, and just these last couple of weeks being there, I look around the locker room like, where's all the guys? Where's all the guys? And it's like, I just feel that calling, so to speak, that purpose. How you said the word present, I feel that too, just for me, even in a different way, being present when I'm in that locker room, when I'm going about my business in the training room, in the cafeteria. I usually don't even eat in the cafeteria, but I'm trying to sit down and actually just engage with whoever it is and see where guys are at. And so God's working in a unique way. We just had our fourth little girl, so we're 6 months in with her now. And so I'm learning a lot at home too, about selfishness and just the chaos that it is with 4 little girls. So I'm learning and growing, but I think just the ministry side of being present and being living on purpose for Him and not making it about myself, as which I've learned year and year and year and year. It just is being magnified the older I get, and I'm embracing it.
It's awesome. You watch professional athletes, and I think you just think of them as older than they are, and I'm always just kind of struck with like, these are guys that are in their 20s, or early 30s with a family. Carson, you have 4, 6 and under, right? And so raising a family and trying to prioritize all the right things, and like a lot on your plate. So it's pretty incredible what you guys are balancing and how you're prioritizing your family in the midst of it. Serious, really important question here that's on everybody's minds. And I need you to both answer on the record. In your professional opinions, how close are the Vikings to a Super Bowl? Are we recording?
Well, I'm still on the team, so CJ now has the former viewpoint, I guess. But I've learned the NFL's weird, and every year is a different year, and they all bring so many different things. I mean, who would have sat in here last year and been like, the Seahawks are winning the Super Bowl? Truthfully, you know what I mean? And I think it's just,
We got one.
it's, and you're
Come on,
crazy,
even
you're
you
a crazy
didn't
12.
believe.
That's why. But that's the whole thing, is I just think the NFL is so unique, and things can snowball in a positive way or in a negative way so fast in a given season. And so this time of year, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Literally anybody could win the Super Bowl. And that's the boring answer, I know. But I do believe in our team. I believe in our head coach. I believe in the pieces that we have. And it takes time. It takes building it together. It takes time to work together and to kind of go through the hard stuff and then see how it snowballs, quite frankly. And hopefully it snowballs positively.
Yeah, that was the very political answer right there. Now that I'm a fan, I can be truthful, I guess. I'm just kidding. What everything Carson said is 100% true. Like, man, I've been a part of teams that, have great rosters. You're like, man, we got some really, really good players, and then we underachieve and don't even make the playoffs. And I've been a part of some teams where our roster isn't that good, and we somehow play together and, go to the NFC Championship and get whooped by the Eagles. Still hurts a little bit, but to that point, like, anybody can win. It's nothing about what we say. It's about what guys like this do, when September starts and how they play. And I hope that the Vikings are ready to win a Super Bowl. I think they can, and I'm going to be there to watch.
That's great. I got one more question for both of you, and then I'm going to split it up a little bit. But have you had a moment where your faith, we've talked about your faith and being grounded in your faith. Have you ever had a moment where publicly or privately was really tested, and how did you respond to that?
Yeah, you just jumped right off the deep end, didn't you? It'll be 6 years at the end of May when I lost my mother to pancreatic cancer. And that was the hardest thing I've had to deal with in my lifetime up until this point. And there was a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of questioning of God. I thought I did everything right. I grew up in the church. I prayed, I fasted, I trusted in the Lord, did all the things that all my pastors and people of influence told me to do, but yet I still lost my mom. So for about 1.5 to 2 years, I felt myself not being who I was. Making decisions, thinking about things that I normally don't think about. And, thankfully, God was just so graceful and was still working on me as I'm trying to pray these right prayers. I'm trying to say the right things, but realistically, I put a boundary up. I put a wall up between me and God. I was praying, but I wasn't truly allowing him to, come into my life. And just one night, I called one of my pastor friends, Adam Weber, out in Sioux Falls, who pastors Embrace Church, a great friend of mine, and he gave me the advice. He said, CJ, just be honest with God. Cry out to him, yell, question. God's a big boy, he can handle it. And I took his advice and I did that, and I felt this peace, this freedom come over me. That boundary kind of, that wall kind of left. It dissipated, and I stumbled upon. I've read the Beatitudes many times, but Matthew 5:4, this time, after being free of so much pain, it just hit me right in the heart. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And I was just like, God, I haven't been allowing you to comfort me. You've been there the whole time with your arms open wide, trying to give me a hug, trying to comfort me, and I haven't let you do it. And now I'm gonna do that. And that feeling of that questioning of why did this happen, that left. It wasn't about why, it was about trusting him. It was about giving it to him, that everything was gonna be okay. And he reminded me that if I truly believe what I think all of us in here believe, that to die is gain as well. That now my mother is with the Father, the place that we all hope to be someday. And I can have joy in that, I can have peace in that, and I can live with that. And, God works everything for the good. Even when we don't feel it, even we don't see it, he's working, and he works everything for the good. And through this, over the years, I've been able to walk alongside many people who have experienced this, who have experienced loss. And it's just been so good. It's been so freeing. And it's just changed my outlook on life, going through that dark time, which I wouldn't wish upon anybody. But I know it's all purposeful if I point it to the Lord.
Yeah, man, so well said. So well said. I know there's people deal with suffering and with loss and the problem of evil in our world, and there's an answer to all of that and why God allows it. But I love that you shared it wasn't even about answering that question logically. It was about God meeting you. Exactly where you needed him to meet you, and he showed up in that way. So well said. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, by the grace of God, I don't sit up here with any life tragedies or anything like that. So praise God for that. But we all walk through our own trials in different ways, and some are big, some are small, but we all deal with them. And at the time, they're often the biggest thing to us, and I always think back to just some of the injuries I've had over my career. I even think back to my 5th year with the Eagles. It was COVID. It was all those things. Just had my daughter, and we have a slow start to the season. Next thing you know, it's week 12, and I'm benched. And for me, for 5 years, I got drafted by the Eagles 2nd overall. I'm the quote face of the franchise. I have this vision. Hey, I'm going to play here for 15, 20 years, retire right off to the sunset. I have this plan. I'm like, all right, God, here's what we're going to do together. You're going to help me do this, and I'm going to tell people about Jesus, and we're going to win the city of Philadelphia for you and a lot of Super Bowls along the way. Truthfully, that's this vision I had. But next thing you know, I'm on the bench, and I'm truly wrestling with God. What are you doing here? Why is this happening? COVID just threw a whole wrench in the whole thing. There's no real community to kind of live with. And there was borderline a season of depression that I was just walking through. I had my daughter. I had it still had all the blessings, tangibly. But I'm just struggling with what does this mean? And this thing that I've held tightly to of just face of the franchise, Philadelphia Eagles, playing here for so long. Not to mention, I just signed a contract the year prior. So like things are in one way going like this, and then boom, they just crashed like in my career, so to speak. And I was just kind of like shook by that. So I can say that's probably between that and my knee injury, which I think I've talked about extensively in the past, just have really made me kind of put into practice what I know is in God's word, and not just have it be head knowledge to consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, and to believe that God works all things together for his good, instead of making that head knowledge to actually believing that and walking it out. Definitely had to wrestle with that. And quite frankly, every off season I wrestle with that again, just because I have this vision of how it could be, of what could be next. And then things go a certain way, and here we are again. And so that's just a daily surrender, and it's a daily thing I've had to wrestle with God. And by the grace of God, it's getting a little easier because I've walked through little things through my professional career time and time again, a lot of things that aren't out there in the public and things that behind the scenes that can really just frustrate and cause me to be bitter or cause me to do different things. And, that's where I think people in this career, people in all careers, without faith in Christ and being rooted in his word, I totally understand why people turn to drugs, alcohol, chasing the wrong things, because it's hard. Life is hard, and it's hard for so many people in so many different ways, and we all navigate it differently. But without being rooted in the word and that foundation of Christ, this life will chew you up and spit you out. And so by the grace of God, he's walked with me through all of these things, and we're still trucking along.
Carson, if you were to... If the Carson Wentz that had just gotten benched, fifth year with the Eagles, was standing here, what would you say to him today?
Yeah, I would just challenge myself to just lean in and just say, God's going to use this for good. And just get like the same things I knew at the time, but just really just pray those and believe those. Prayer life was really hard and weird at the time, because it's like, I don't really want to talk to God because I want to do this. I want to do it myself. The same thing Pastor Kevin was talking about, Joseph, like, I got this. And it was like, okay, I got this. Like, I might be on the bench, but I got this. What's going to happen next? Like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And that's how we're wired as men. And so for me, it was just like the first time really in my career to just be like, no, you don't got this. Like, between that and my knee injury, it's like, you don't got this, and I got this. And so I would just challenge myself to continue to lean in and keep wrestling with God through those prayers and be real and authentic. I did that the best I could. It just took a little longer than I maybe wanted it to.
Yeah, it's like dealing with tragedy is really difficult, and dealing with disappointment of what you thought was going to be can be equally as difficult. Pain is universal. Everybody has pain. Everybody in this room, and it's not that one person's is worse than the other, but it's like we all experience it. And sometimes it's in the form of disappointment. Sometimes it's in the form of tragedy. One thing that I like about both you guys is I don't think you walk in and you're the loudest, most charismatic voice in the room. And I'm curious, how do you lead when you're not the loudest voice in the room? Because there's guys here today who are like, well, I'm not in charge, or I'm not the most charismatic, or I don't have the wisest words to speak. How have you demonstrated leadership even when you're not the loudest voice?
Yeah, I think it's just, for one, I've never been the loudest voice. I'm usually the more introverted, kind of introspective, and that's even caused me to be more uncomfortable as I've gotten older, because I try to be a little more vocal in those things. But I think it's just your work ethic and how you show up, how you meet people where they are. I think for me, it's a lot of one-on-one conversations with people. I see, hey, they may be struggling, whether it's on the field, off the field, like, hey, pull a rookie to the side and be like, hey, the route you're running, like, do something like this instead. And like, their eyes light up, like, why are you taking the time to talk to me? And it's like, no, I just want you to be the best version, the best version of yourself. And that can translate to the next time you're sitting in the cafeteria. They're opening up about something they're walking through with their girlfriend or their child or whatever. And it's just like, all of a sudden there's a place to speak life into their life. And so for me, it's just how I go about my business, how I handle my conversations, when there's things that people are discussing that are maybe inappropriate or shouldn't be, you speak up and just, walk faithfully through those things. And you'd be shocked at how many doors that'll open when the time comes for somebody that's maybe struggling with something or at rock bottom. There's been times I've had guys come up to me and I'm like, I barely even know your name, which I should be better about that. But it's like, I don't know why, but they see something different. And they know there's potentially something different in that person to ask this deeper question or whatever. And so it's been fun to kind of see that translate. But there is for sure a time to speak. There's always a time to speak up and to carry that mantle, so to speak, and speak up and be authentic. It's so trying to navigate that as best as I can. But as an introvert, it can be a little harder naturally to always want to do that. But trying my best.
Men are all looking around going, who has gotten through the season that I'm in right now that I can learn from? Like looking around the room, who raised these kids? Who stayed strong in their faith through adversity? And if you make yourself available, it's like, people are going to come and they're going to ask you questions about how did you make it through or why do you live the way that you live? How about you, CJ?
Yeah, I agree with everything Carson said. And I've always been a lead by example type of guy. I grew up with a stutter. So speaking is something that I don't like to do. I don't want to do. Even being on stage right now is still something that I struggle with. My flesh struggles with. Leading by example was always something I've done. But over the years, I've learned by seeing so many leaders is that what you do is always going to speak so much louder than the things that you say. And just being consistent in all situations, whether it's high, whether it's low, being that same person that people can lean on, that's what people gravitate towards. And, Jesus said a lot of things, he used a lot of words, but I think what's even more important is what he did, how he serves with humility, how he saw people, how he met people where they were at. Those are the things that I think speak louder than anything that you'll ever say. So just trying to live a life and lead in humility like Jesus.
Great. CJ, you recently retired.
I did.
Yeah. And you're going to be present in this next season. I love that. And you're showing a video of your son running his first touchdown, right? Back in the back room and just getting to enjoy those moments. And what is the top moment from your playing career that sticks out to you? What is the memory you go to?
That's a great question. I've got to play in some really, really cool games, man. Like Minneapolis Miracle, the largest comeback in NFL history, JJ's 4th and 18 catch versus the Bills. Just so many cool things. But the moment that has really been sticking out to me the most is my last moment. My last game. The Vikings did a phenomenal job of honoring me. Definitely didn't need to. I didn't even want them to. I was given the advice that I should probably tell somebody this is going to be my last game because I was just going to let it ride out and tell them on Monday and say, hey, y'all, I'm out. But I was given the advice to let them know so they can do something cool, and boy, did they. And just the reaction, first off, for my family, to have those memories from my family, but the love that I got from the fans, my teammates, my coaches, as a guy who is broken, a guy who is insecure, and just trying to figure it out. I don't think I'm anything special at all. But to hear all the things that were said to me about me, I was just so thankful and so humbled that God still chose to use me and my family to shine light on him. And didn't deserve it at all, but it was just so good to feel that and to see that. And there's no pride in it. It's just true worship. Just thank you, Lord, for allowing me to be here these last 10 years and to experience life and to impact people's life and have people impact my life the way that you have. And yeah, it's something I'll never forget.
Just sitting with you earlier, I just kept thinking, even listening to Kevin speak, and I thought, God has something in front of you. You know, like, I know you want to be present, and I know your hands aren't going to go idle, but I'm excited to see where your quiet, steady leadership and humility puts you in the next season, because I just feel like you're not done, you know, and I'm excited. Maybe you have an idea of what that is. I don't, but...
I don't either.
Yeah. But just to reassure you, you know, I've just sensed that the whole time I've been with you is God wants to use you, you know, going forward for his glory. You know, God's not a user of men. We give ourselves to him and he empowers us. And yeah, I'm excited to see.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, where it goes. Carson, you're going into a full quarterback room coming up this next season. And JJ and Kyler, both there. What has your mentality been as, you know, you're going into camps and everything is starting to develop?
Yeah, great question. Very different room, very different, a couple different, and we got another guy named Max Brosmer in there who played a little bit last year. And so there's 4 guys that are all entirely different off the field and on the field, and CJ can attest to that. And so for me, being the old guy that's been around the block a minute, just trying to just be present and be available, but compete in a healthy way, you know, and try and set the standard of what that looks like and be the mature one, so to speak. Because, I mean, there's no hiding. All 4 of us want to be playing. You know, at the end of the day, you don't come to this league to sit on the sideline and hold a clipboard. Like, we're all competitors. And so there's no denying that, but there's a way to compete healthily and there's a way to compete unhealthily. And I've seen both. Sadly. And so for me, I want to be the one that can kind of set the standard of this is what it looks like to compete in a healthy way and to still encourage each other, to still, you know, I want to be able to offer advice and be a mentor and with the X's and O's and all the things that I've accumulated from my experience. Because at the end of the day, I want the team to win. You know, we all want to be out there, but I want the team to win because when the team wins, everybody's happy at the end of the day. And so the goal is for everybody to get better and to win. And so for me, trying to set the standard of what that looks like in a healthy way to the best of my ability.
CJ, just from being in the room for a little bit today, from being around, we're going to wrap it up in a minute, but can you give an encouragement to all the guys that are here? Just anything that you sense or that God would speak to your heart that you just want to encourage them in?
Yeah. What's actually been on my heart? I mean, I was thinking about something earlier, but this is kind of what just came to me. And if you follow me at all, you might have heard this at another event I did not too long ago. But I would just encourage every man in here and women. I see a handful of women in here as well. To just truly look into your own life. If you have been a follower of Christ for a long time, or if you are making that decision here very recently, to look into your life and say, is there something that I am holding on to that Jesus wants? You know, and I believe Jesus wants every single ounce of who you are and your being. You know, to be 99% known is still to be unknown. You know, it's said that there are Roman soldiers who would get baptized with their right hand out of the water, their sword hand out of the water, because you can cleanse everything else, but I still need this right hand to kill, to go into war. And I think for a lot of us men in here, that right hand might be our phones. It might be our laptop. It might be our relationship at work. It might be our job in and of itself. That the Lord wants he wants all of you. And there was a story that I heard a handful of years back about a farmer who had hundreds of acres, beautiful home, and he was looking to sell his house and his property. And you know, these buyers came in and they said, like, hey, you're selling it for this super cheap price. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, we want this property, we want this land. But the seller said, hey, there's one caveat. I want to own this one nail on this front door. And they're like, oh, easy. That's easy. I'll take everything else. You can have this one nail. This one nail won't bother us one bit. It's a little nail in this huge house and all this land. And every single day, as the buyers are living in this house, every single day, the seller comes back and hangs a dead animal on that nail. And it's rotting and it's smelly. I know it's kind of graphic, y'all. it's rotting and it's smelly, and the guy and the family that's living in the house is like, hey, it's okay. Like we can let that go. We're good. We still have so much beauty. Like we have this beautiful home. And then after day, week after week, month after month, the smell gets too much for them to bear, and they end up selling the house and getting out of the house. And that nail is what the enemy is holding on to in order to drive you out of what the beauty that God has for you. So that nail is that 1%. What are you holding on to? Giving the devil that stronghold on your life that will eventually drive you away. So yeah, I just encourage you to look inward as you go into this year, as you go into the next chapter of your life. What am I still holding on to? What am I not giving to the Lord? And just an encouragement that he wants every single bit of you, and he will use you in the ways that he sees fit. Thank you, guys.
Hey, if you're like under 16 years old in the room, will you just stand up for a second? Carson, I want you to speak to all these guys, just an encouragement or what you would say to them, that there's a lot of kids here with their friends or with their dads, and you guys can sit back down. We just wanted to see you. What would you say to those guys?
Yeah. First of all, I'm glad you guys are here. And shout out to the dads that brought their kids here. I think I have girls, so I can't fully relate to having a son, but I think that's what it looks like to be a man and lead well, is just bringing your kid, bringing your son to things like this, to grow. I just challenge you kids, like being a man is about living life on your knees, living life in surrender. I think you grow up in this world, and especially, I was in your shoes. I grew up right here in Bismarck, and I was the kid that worked hard, and like this, the North Dakota values that were instilled in me, and work hard, hard work ethic, all of that, and you'll get what you'll reach for your goal. And I'm grateful that I had those values and those work ethics. However, I think I missed in my younger days the part of dependence upon God, and that it wasn't about myself. I can work on it with everything I have, but like Kevin said, that's an additive of praying and believing that it is all God's. And so I think there's this point of my life that I was just always trying to do everything. I was living in the shadow, so to speak, of, for those of you that know, my older brother who went on to play college baseball. And I was always just trying so hard to do everything and to earn everything. And by the grace of God, he used that. But I can look back and reflect at how much struggle mentally I put myself through trying to do it all myself. And so I would just, from a young age, start the discipline of just living life for God and just giving it to him. Work at everything you can with all your heart. You know, God calls us to excel in everything as best we can, but at the end of the day, just trust that he's writing your story, he's writing your plan, and be a man. And it's gonna look different. You're gonna go to school, there's gonna be kids, kids making the wrong decisions, kids chasing after women and doing the wrong things. And you might feel like you are the oddball. You might feel like you are living countercultural and you are living, you're the different one. But one day they're gonna all look at you and be like, why didn't I choose that? Why didn't I choose that? Why didn't I make that life decision? Because you're gonna be the old one looking down and thanking God, thanking your parents for raising you the way they did, because there will be life mistakes that will happen at 16 that'll change the projection of every other kid's life that aren't following Christ the right way. So I would truly challenge you guys to look to him and be okay being the one that might look and act and be a little bit different. As long as you know who you are and whose you are, that's all that matters.
We're out of time, but I just have this one other question in my heart, and I can't help but ask it, because CJ, you're walking away from football and you seem okay, you know? And I was thinking about how many of us get our identity wrapped up. Like, I have to be careful not to get my identity wrapped up in this job, or get your identity wrapped up in football, or get your identity wrapped up in your business. How are you okay? And how are you keeping your identity intact even without this major part of how people perceive you?
Yeah, honestly, I was talking to my wife about this not too long ago. Someone asked me the same question, and I was trying to say, when did that switch? Because I mean, earlier in my career, like, it's so hard to not make what you do your identity. I mean, you do it every single day. You spend so much time doing it. It's what you're known for. Like, it's so hard to not, to not let that be your identity, right? And like for me, it was after I lost my mom, I think I just realized that, man, life is just too short. Life is too short to worry so much about what other people think, what other people say. I want to live a life of significance. I don't want to be significant, and thank you. And I think that's really what it is. I just realized that there are just so much more important things in life than football in and of itself. And I think when I realized that, I was able to give more to football. I was able to be very present when I was in my job, but I knew when I stepped out of that building, I was still who I was. It didn't engulf me, engulf everything around me too much. And I think that's just kind of where I landed.
Yeah. Thank you for saying yes. When Carson, I know when he reached out to you, he got back to me so fast. Like, you gave a quick yes. And I think I don't actually know the total motivation, if it was to be with him or to be with these men or all of the things, but it said a lot about you that you were willing to step away, and come and speak at a men's conference. So thank you for your yes, Carson. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for being a friend to our church. Thank you both for what you do for underprivileged kids and making it bigger than just your name and yourselves. Part of what we do at the arena is we give, and we give outside the four walls of the church. We give to other causes that are in our communities or around our region. And we call it legacy makers, but it's just giving that goes beyond us. And the focus area that we wanted to take this weekend was to focus on people that are experiencing hardship, which I think is represented in causes that you guys care about as well. I was talking to some pastors this last week, and I said, supporting missionaries is a godly, biblical thing. And we should do that, and churches do that. But supporting and caring for the poor in your community is the gospel. Like, you cannot follow Jesus and not care about the poor. Jesus speaks to it so much. The crowds of people that surrounded him when he was teaching the Beatitudes were the down and out, those that had been cast aside. They flocked to Jesus. And so we want to put an emphasis on people who are experiencing hardship. And so for us as a church, that means supporting the work that God has allowed us to do as a church at the North Dakota State Penitentiary and all the men that are there at the Dream Center here in Bismarck, Heaven's Helpers, Hip Hop and Hope, which goes into our correctional facilities, the AO1 Foundation, and supporting what you guys are doing, Global Neighbors, Convoy of Hope, who helps people who are going through crisis and tragedy. And part of that this year is the Ham Family Scholarship as well, and supporting the work that you guys are doing. And I know you guys are here to support those causes in part too, as well as just sharing about Jesus in your own lives. And so our goal for 2026 for those causes as a church is to raise $160,000 that will go not to this church, but outside the walls to causes like that and supporting them. And so I am unashamed to ask you to give because it's so central to the gospel. It's the same as me asking you to raise your hand and accept Jesus, to take care of the poor and those that are in need. And so it's not about how much you give, it's about everybody doing their part. It's not out of compulsion. The Bible says, give as the Spirit leads you. Give as he prompts your heart. And I think these things are close to Jesus's heart. And my wife and I realized when we adopted that adoption is close to God's heart, and he provided so much. So we know that he's going to take care of every need. So the ways to give are on the screen. I do believe you can use the tag on the seat back in front of you to give as well. I know you paid to be here, and I thank you for helping us pay for the conference. And I'm just asking you if you're able, and if the Holy Spirit prompts your heart, to give above and beyond that to all these different needs for people that are experiencing hardship right now. Can we do that? Is that all right? All right.